First up for the reading is going to be Lia Woodall. Lia Woodall, she, her, is an award-winning essayist who experiments with form to explore her experiences of twin loss to suicide and the roles played in her family of origin. Her hybrid chapbook, Removed to Play, was the 2019 contest winner for the Cupboard Pamphlet and was published in 2020. She also has words published or forthcoming in Best American Experimental Writing, the digital edition, which was just released, Under the Gumtree, Literal Latté, Sonora Review, Crack the Spine, the Rumpus, and South Loop Review. Also somebody who I've had the really intimate pleasure of working with in writing groups and other spaces. So such a joy to share time with you today and for you to grace us with your work. Perhaps everybody in the chat can sort of express some sort of applause, positive sentiments, etc. for Lia Woodall.
Thanks so much, Jake. Yeah, mutual respect for all the projects you have your hand in, and our Tuesday night Central Phoenix writing meetup, which I hope to return to soon as I'm finishing a class on Tuesday night. And thanks to the Piper Center for Short, doing awesome things. Really encourage everyone to go to the conference in February. It's fantastic. So I'm going to read from an essay called The Scream, because it's 2020 and I feel like screaming again. The Scream. There is a scream buried in bone, calcifying for 22 years. I feel it bubbling, shifting the plates of my skeleton, mountains breaching my epidermis. I expect bumps on my skin, explosions less friendly than my freckles. I will explode. But there's only dryness of aging and living on the Colorado plains east of real mountains, high desert. You were low desert 22 years ago, a valley in the shadow of the superstitions, deep valley without a phoenix. In New York, I put my foot down. We will go to MoMA. We will see the Scream in all its pastel nicety, hanging on a freshly painted wall, 5th floor. Behind bulletproof glass, I tell my husband. Plexi, he corrects. I have seen it before, once, a different iteration, perhaps a preparation. I remember it dark, menacing, on the wall in another quiet museum, soundless in the loudest way. They found my sister in an IHOP. She had come from a fellowship meeting, her 3rd that day. She looked up from her coffee. They were afraid of what she would do. We'll tell you after you get in the car. But she was frozen in her chair, determined to make them dispense their news under the fluorescent lights against the clanking of stainless steel. Your brother's dead. Patrons looked up from their meals. The restaurant shook. I told my therapist, the good therapist after the bad therapist, I told her that I needed to hear glass breaking. Inside my head, I could already hear it, muffled and small, how my nails objected when I clipped them. I had a plan. I would take my glass bottles to the recycling center and hurl them one at a time into the metal bin, listen for the explosions. But every week when I met with her at 6 in the morning, when she squeezed me in and she asked if I'd gone to the center with my bottles, I had to confess I hadn't. Shattering glass will not release my scream. I yelled at my husband though, often. I yelled at him for bouncing a check and then another. I yelled at him when he said, I never have trouble starting the car. And when he didn't read my mind after the hints I'd left. I yelled at him after I'd quit my job a 2nd time, certain that he told me his transfer had finally been approved and we were moving to Colorado. I even yelled at him for being so careless as to rush in the middle of the night to comfort our baby boy and breaking his toe against the door jamb on the way. One night after dinner, I yelled at my husband for nothing at all and walked out the front door. I needed to see the new French thriller about a young woman kidnapped and buried alive in a bucolic countryside where no one will hear her desperation. I saw a lot of movies this spring of 1991. I rewatched The Godfather and thought about family loyalty. I rented The Other, about a charming but evil twin brother. I went to see The Silence of the Lambs to hear the bleating of abandonment. I rented Ordinary People because I was the stronger sibling who wanted to die. I meet a friend for lunch at the National Gallery in DC. I order mashed potatoes at the cafeteria and we sit near the waterfall wall. The starchy mound looks like a castle surrounded by a moat of liquid mud. I scoop up a couple bites, careful not to breach the dam. I tell my friend how my twin brother shot himself in the heart in his condo in Arizona. Then I pierce the moat and watch your dark river bleed across my white plate. At the viewing, my best friend from college held my hand, let me rest my sorrow against her. Her shoulder was tense. She said, "I'm so angry with Larry. How could he do such a selfish thing?" I retrieved my hand and sat up straight on the wooden bench. I felt betrayed. I could not sit beside her anger. That first year, I read Theo's letters to Vincent and saw the Starry Night in New York at MoMA, 5th floor. I stood in front of it holding my baby boy, thinking how you'd taken dozens of pictures of him over Thanksgiving, in his crib and on his blanket, surrounded by playfulness. How you'd taught my toddling daughter to say, "Don't touch the cactus," on our walk to the park. How you'd captured her laughter in the twirl of her hem, like the swirls in Van Gogh's sky. But then you'd retreated into his night. We're at Disney World with our 2 children. It's 8 or 9 years after their uncle shoots himself. We're seated far from the stage for the new Indiana Jones show. Someone will be chosen to come up on stage based on how loudly, how convincingly they shriek. On the count of 3, I open my mouth with hundreds of kids. I am a dried up corpse in rags, buried alive. Thousands of sand flies spew from my cleft. The lady in front of me recoils, then spins, eclipses my howl with her demand. "What is wrong with you?" "Why are you crying, Mama?" I promised to take my toddling daughter shopping, but I am crumpled on the kitchen floor. "I'm missing Uncle Larry, Sweet Pea. I'm missing him so much today. I don't think I can take you shopping." "Look, Mama, he's right here. We can take him shopping with us." And my magical munchkin scoops him up off the linoleum and places him carefully in her little purse. Her innocence pulls me off the floor. We must wait in line to approach the scream. There are crowds and cameras. I turn around to pass the time with my husband and my 20-something daughter, who now lives in Manhattan. The Starry Night is over their shoulders. On the wall directly opposite, an honest conversation is forming. My sister visited that April. We went to Union Station in DC to see the Easter Bunny. My toddling daughter wore her black and white polka dot dress with a cartoon of a bunny multicolored on her chest, one ear bent over in guffaw. She ran up to the Easter Bunny and could not tear herself away. I saw where joy might still exist in a train station. I with another friend, one from college in Arizona. We go to my favorite diner and I order mashed potatoes with lots of gravy. I play with my food. I tell him how my twin brother killed himself with a .22 caliber pistol, how there was only a small oxidized mark on the sofa. My sister has she's in a big house and there is a storm outside. Lightning flashes and all the windows shatter at the same time. She hears the glass breaking. When she reads it to me, I hear only organ music. I'm close now. I've waited so patiently, 22 years worth of patience for the other museum goers to take it in. Take their photos and move away. Now it's my turn to stare into that orifice, feel it stare back, suck the scream out of my mouth and into its own. Did you scream when the bullets tore your flesh on its way to your heart? Did you even have time? I hope not. I hope not even time to form the idea. But here it is facing you on the 5th floor of MoMA, swirls meeting swirls. I hope I have left my own, trapped behind a plexiglass window, soundless in the loudest way. Beyond the glass shattering, this bulletproof screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Lia.